My idea of an extraordinary life.
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 My idea of an extraordinary life is.
My idea of an extraordinary life.
My idea for an extraordinary life.
My idea of 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 an extraordinary life.
Happy Thanksgiving, guys.
Hello.
We are so excited. I'm Laurie Starkey. This is my good friend Chris Hogan.
Absolutely, and we are excited to be here with you all again. You all have been fantastic on the comments. We
Yes.
appreciate you so much. And so today, Laurie, we wanted to do something special.
We did. We wanted to do a Thanksgiving Day special.
Yes.
Talk about thankfulness. Talk about how in the extraordinary life, thankfulness can be a superpower.
I like that phrase.
Yes, let's unpack that.
I mean, that makes me think of Batman.
Yes. Wonder Woman.
Superman.
Wonder Woman.
You said her already.
Aqua Woman. Spider Woman.
Okay, we get the point.
Okay.
All right.
Just making sure.
No?
All right, so within that, we are doing a celebration of thankfulness today, and talking about what we're most thankful for. Right?
It really is. And when you think about a superpower, what does it help you do? It helps you in battle. It helps you to overcome some things. And it's something that you pull out when you need it. And so as Laurie and I were talking about thankfulness, we truly want that to become a superpower for you. It's one of those things that we're going to have to pull out all the time because life brings challenges, life brings issues, day-to-day living. Hello, parents with kids. Or guess what? You might be dealing with aging parents or whatever your situation is. You have a superpower of thankfulness, and we're going to help you discover that today.
Yes, and even to make that even broader, the last 2 years have been pretty tough on people.
Laurie.
Between loss financially and loss of life and loss of what they thought maybe their future was going to look like.
Absolutely. And let's not forget COVID.
Absolutely,
Right?
yeah.
I mean, it changed a lot of
It
things.
did, and so I think even for people who like security, the loss of the security
Yeah.
that they had,
Absolutely.
that's a really big deal. And so we talked about the idea that thankfulness is one of those great weapons of light that can kind of give you some breathing room around some of these dark emotions and even some of these dark times if you
Yeah.
use it right.
Yeah, it really is. But notice what she said, if we use it right. So that means you can't use something that you don't know you have or if you don't possess it. So we gotta have thankfulness. We've gotta find it. And sometimes we have to dig and fight for it in the middle of struggle, but we have it. And I wanna talk with you a little bit about as we look at this, we wanna celebrate thankfulness. And I think it's one of those things that you have to sometimes force yourself to do or to push yourself to even acknowledge
Yes.
that despite whatever's going on in your world, you've got something or somebody somewhere to be thankful for. And it's so important to have that, Laurie, and we've got to get that memory closer to us so we can grab it when we need it.
I totally agree. So let's do something really fun.
All right.
Let's look at thankfulness in the context of our taste, our smell, our touch, our hearing, our seeing. So our 5 sensories.
Ooh.
Let's talk about what does thankfulness look for each of those. We can both share.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, good. So
Okay.
let's start with taste.
All right. Well, I mean, taste for me, I mean, it's thankfulness. I'm thankful for all of the recipes over the years. My grandmother, God rest her soul, amazing cook. And so, you know, there are certain recipes that I taste that it just brings me back to little Hogan time. Okay, I wasn't never that
I was like little.
I was just smaller. I was smaller, people.
Smaller
but it brings me back to those memories and literally can just make my heart happy.
I absolutely love that. I would say from my past, there's so many recipes that my mom made that I was little Laurie, and I
Right.
was little Laurie in the kitchen up on a chair or something watching her. And so now those memories and those flavors have transcended to my children. So they come in the house looking for those things that
Give
my
me
mom
one.
made.
What are they?
Yeah, so our best one for right now is the stuffing we make. We make homemade cornbread stuffing. And so the other day my mom posted on Facebook and she was like, "What's everyone looking forward to?" And then my mom put, "I'm looking forward to Laurie's stuffing that used to be mine, but she does it better." And everybody would agree, like everybody wants that.
You made it
cornbread
better.
Stuffing. I made
That's
it better.
awesome.
Yeah, so
That's
now I have to
fantastic.
make it every year. I should have just held back.
You got to do it now. Okay, I expect to be able to taste that.
Exactly.
All right, let's go with the next one. The next sense to me is one of those things that is very powerful. It is the sense of smell. We all know you can walk into a room and smell certain things and it can take you back. I mean, literally, like time travel, can pull us back into that moment. And I think that's why Christmas is so powerful, and especially Thanksgiving with the smells of all the foods. So, Laurie, what is the smell that takes you back?
For sure, for me, it's the smell of chicken and dumplings. My mama can make chicken and dumplings like nobody. It's not necessarily a holiday thing, but when you smell chicken and dumplings. And another one would be her perfume.
Okay.
My father has bought her the same perfume since I was knee-high to a grasshopper. So the smell of her perfume just permeates our house. And so when you smell of it, you immediately think of my mom.
Gotcha. For me, it's a jam cake. A jam cake is something that's got allspice and it's got preserves and all the stuff. And there's even a caramel icing my grandmother used to do. But smelling that smell takes me back.
That's awesome.
It really does. It really and truly does. And it can, I can catch myself about to smile and also about to cry. Because you get there, you are back in that moment. And it's powerful.
And don't you know, too, thank you for sharing that, by the way. Don't you know, too, that when you walk into a craft store this time of year, or you walk into a holiday store, they're pumping that stuff through the smell vents.
Oh, absolutely. Because
like,
they
get
know
you in the mood.
They do want you in the mood.
The music gets you in the mood, but this really gets you in the mood when you smell the cinnamon and the pine.
All the things.
Yes.
And so I think that's why this time of year can be powerful. Okay, another sense. Touch.
Touch. You go first. Touch.
Okay.
Yeah, you're up first.
I mean, I just, for me, my family, we're huggers.
I was good. You took mine.
Well, no, I went first. So as being huggers, I don't know, just seeing your family and being able to just grab them and hug them. I would like that with my boys.
Yes.
And it's one of those things of just being able to hold people. The thing that I've learned, Laurie, with that is that the ability to be able to hug, we can do that mentally with people even if they're not here.
Yep, that is so true.
Just being able to reach out via a text or a phone call, telling people you love them and you miss them, that's an active thing we can do.
Yeah.
All right, what's your touch?
Okay, my touch would be being wrapped up in a warm blanket. Because it's cold. Like, I'm from Texas, and it's not really cold in Texas but 3 days a year.
Right.
But here in Tennessee, it is already
It
frigid.
can get a little
It's in the 20s.
Cool. Yes.
And so to wrap up in a blanket and to sit on the couch, especially as we start approaching Christmas season and the lights are everywhere in the living room and the smells are there, and just wrapping up in a really warm blanket and just realizing that you're protected and taken care of.
Real quick, to our fans up north, and I'm talking New York, Pennsylvania, Michigan, Chicago,
Canada.
Wisconsin, do not make fun of us about our version of cold. I spent 5 years in Pennsylvania. I've done my time. I know what negative temperatures look like. But you're right.
You kept all your toes?
It is. But being warm, you're right. There's some blankets and things that you can wrap yourself in.
Especially if someone's made them.
Yes, and my grandmother made a quilt.
Oh, yes.
And so that quilt means a lot to me. And so that's, again, thankfulness, right?
Yes.
Okay, all right. What do you hear that makes you thankful outside of my melodious voice?
Yeah,
what makes you thankful?
I'm going to just move right past that.
Fine, whatever.
Anyways, I thought about this a minute ago, and definitely it's laughter. My family is a funny family. I'm going to miss my brother this Thanksgiving. He's not going to get to come up here. He's in Texas. When him and I get together, it's just all laughs. Belly's hurting. Everybody's like, stop. Y'all go to another room. But my whole entire family is funny.
Yeah.
So just the sound of laughter that fills from little Audrey, who's 2, all the way up to my mom and dad. It's beautiful. It's prevalent. It just goes all throughout the house the entire holiday.
That is so funny. Mine's going to sound weird, but bear with me because your family's the same way. It's the sound of competition. And what I
love
mean
it.
is the smack talking and playing cards, whether it's phase 10, skip bow, Uno, or Scrabble.
Yes.
My family is competitive.
We've
And
almost
so,
broke up.
Yeah, I'm serious. I mean, but it's one of those things where, and it's just the sound of people being with people they love.
Yeah.
And the spirit of competition.
Absolutely.
And it's just that sound, that laughing, that smack talking, that joking, that's when I know, I go, boy, this is the holidays because everybody's here.
That's so good.
Yeah,
I totally
yeah.
forgot about that one. That is so, between my dad and my son, that is so good.
Yes, yes.
Okay, the next one is going to be, and our last one is going to be seeing. Seeing, what do we see at this holiday time that we're thankful for?
You know, for me, I've got to go with the people that I love, the people that matter to me.
Yes.
I think going through the year of 2020 and being limited in how we could see people,
Yes.
being limited in how we could interact, being able to see people. And again, it doesn't have to be for long, extended periods of time, but just that visual, being able to
Yes.
appreciate. Because Lord knows I'm tired of Zoom.
I know
Laurie,
you are.
Don't,
I know.
don't.
You ain't the
I
only one.
twitched.
You ain't
I
alone.
twitched when I said Zoom. But being able to see people face to face, and not just family, but friends and people that really matter,
Yeah.
that's one of the things that I've learned. Man, I'm so grateful.
I love that so much. I agree totally. I think mine would be this time of the year, I feel like people are more receptive to helping other people. So as you go out and about, you see people donating things. You see people holding the door more often. You see people, even though there's some tension right at the holiday, you really do see people being more generous and kind and giving. And you get to see that. We get to physically see that. And it just touches my heart. I mean, it chokes me up every time you see it. Even as something as simple as somebody lets you go in front of them in a car. It's like when you make a different decision this time of year, people are more willing to do that. And we get to witness it. And even better, we get to do it.
Yes.
And then other people get to witness and see it. And what do they think? I want to do that.
That's right. And the beauty of that is that doesn't have to be something that's just contained to this time of year.
No, it doesn't.
As we look at this, I think another thing that we have to be thankful for, obviously, are the experiences and gifts we have from our past.
Oh, yes.
And in that, being able to walk through life and being able to look to see the things that we've come up against, the things that we've walked through, and where we get to be now.
Yeah.
And those things can be hard, but I think oftentimes as you look at it, you have to search.
Yes, you do.
And find
Excavate,
thankfulness.
as we say.
Yes, you
Dig it
really
out
do.
sometimes.
You have to.
Yeah, I agree.
And just being able to look at that, that just means the world to me.
I think so too. And I think, not all of us had like a great childhood, or not all of us had a great mother or a great father. And so I think for those of us that did, it may be a little more easy to just pick that
Yes.
thankfulness
Oh, I
right
agree.
off top.
I completely agree.
But as you're trying to be thankful right now about your past and about what builds you to be who you are, those of us that didn't have, and I did have a great mom and dad, but those of us that didn't, to excavate it, you could also be thankful that you're not like that you've chosen a different path, that experience so impressed itself on you that you decided to go a different way, and now your children have the best mom ever.
Yeah, that's good. And I can tell you this from friends, it's funny. There's a new phrase that's caught on in the last few years. It's called Friendsgiving.
Yeah, we had Friendsgiving
Did
on
you?
Sunday.
Oh, I wasn't invited.
Well, it was church people only.
Yeah, okay.
It was church
we'll talk
people.
about it later. But Friendsgiving, and as you say that, a lot of people maybe didn't have family or aren't close
Yes.
in proximity to family.
Yes.
And so being able to be thankful for those friends that you can gather with,
Yes.
it's important because it doesn't have to be family. It has to
that's
be
right.
people that genuinely care about you and that you generally care about, and you're able to kind of come together to do life together.
Yes.
That's something to be thankful for.
I totally agree. And you know what? Just a tip to encourage people is if your family isn't close, look to the people that you work with, and look to the people you go to church with, and look
Yes.
to the people you play bingo with, or whatever it
Absolutely.
is you do,
Yeah.
and be the brave one.
Yes.
Be empowered to be the brave one to step out and say, let me have the Friendsgiving at my house this year, and let's start something. Our oldest daughter totally started their first Friends Thanksgiving this year, and it's like, this has been awesome. They've got people their age that they're getting to commune with, and it's
That's right.
it's just opening up your own place, and to be thankful that you have the place, and thankful that you have the friends.
Yes.
It's just beautiful.
It is, and that thankfulness, and then it goes back to spirit. And, a tough one at this time of
Yes.
year can be the loss of some loved ones. And this, and that's at any time. It could have been 10, 15 years ago. I think often these holiday seasons, people can begin to miss. And I think missing is a good thing because that's a sign of love.
Yeah,
But I think at the same time, I want to encourage people, because that's what I've had to do, is to not, I can miss the person, but I also want to be thankful for the memories.
Yeah.
And I want to make sure that I'm not diving into the pool of grief. I kind of wade in it a little bit. I let myself get there and I miss them, but then I want to be thankful for the memory that I have.
Yes.
And that's an active thing that I've done. And I think this time of year can bring back that, especially with the COVID and maybe not being able to see parents because they're older or maybe sick.
Yeah.
So I just, people are grieving the loss of loved ones, but also the loss of the way things were. And I think it's so important for us to, in the midst of that, acknowledge it, but at the same time, find some thankfulness that you have, that if you can reach out and call them or Zoom,
Yep.
if you can, or even write a letter to the people you've lost.
Well, and to take it a step further, to speak out loud to
Yes,
them, to have
yes.
a moment where you talk to them, light a candle
Absolutely.
for them,
Absolutely.
honor the memory of who they were and what impact they had on your life. People that bump against us shape us. They change us. And so it's like pieces of all those people, good or bad, have become part of who you are. It's like to let thankfulness be the life vest or the life raft or whatever in the deep end of the pool. It will be one of those tools that if you can excavate that thankfulness, even in the grief, it will start to pull you back.
I never thought of a candle. I'm literally going to go do that today.
Yes.
I'm going to go pick up a few candles in remembrance of these individuals. I love that idea.
So when my father passed away when I was 6 years old, and so when Jacob and I got married, we lit candles in honor of him, and then Jacob's grandfather on both sides. Jacob lit my father's candle, I lit his grandfather's candle when we got married. And you see it too in churches where, especially Catholic churches, where they'll go in and light candles in remembrance. So why not do that? That's a great idea. To honor them and remember them. So you have permission, by the way. Those of you who need it, you have permission to grieve. And you also have permission to step outside that grief and celebrate in remembrance of who these people have been in your life and celebrate it in community.
Yes.
There's other people that miss them and love them. Celebrate in community so that you know you're not alone in the grief and you are together in the celebration.
I'd love to throw out a challenge. If you have lost someone and you've got a memory of what you all used to do together, I want to encourage people out there to go do that thing. If you went on walks with your grandfather, I want you to get out and take a walk. If your grandmother made a certain dish, I want you to let this be the year that you try to make that dish. It's not that has to be hers, but I want you to just in that moment as you're mixing those ingredients, I want you to play the music that they loved. I want you to talk out loud, and I want you to be in that memory because it'll give you an amazing emotion. That you know that they're right here. You don't have to travel nowhere to get a memory. All you got to do is grab in your heart and go in your mind and just be there. If they had a favorite movie, I want you to watch that movie over the holidays and just give yourself the opportunity to remember, honor, and celebrate those people that you've lost.
I love that so much. So just real quick story, share time. Jacob's grandmother passed a couple of years ago, and she was my grandmother. Like my grandparents on either side were okay, but Jacob's grandmother was just everything to me. And she used to make us this Texas trash. If y'all know what that is, it's not like you haul in the garbage dump. It's literally like the peanuts and the pretzels and the Chex Mix. You would call it Chex Mix. We call it Texas trash.
Okay, gotcha.
And so she would make it, but she would make it in these massive quantities so that everybody in the entire family could have a container of it at the holidays. And she would put 3 times the pecans. And so we were like, either Mimi's wealthy, because you know what pecans are like in Texas, or pecans, whatever you want to call them in Texas. When she passed, it was like, what are we going to do? Well, Jacob's middle brother, Joel, stepped up and figured out the recipe. It took him forever, and we're competitive, so we've razzed him for years on end that this ain't exactly right. But he did just that. He loved Mimi so much that he got in the kitchen, and he figured it out. And so now we don't have to miss out on what Mimi gave us.
That's right.
He gives it to us every Christmas.
That's so cool.
It's so beautiful to watch the tradition pass.
It really is.
Because somebody took the mantle of responsibility to make it pass.
And just to try.
Just to try. He just went out on a limb.
I love that. And that's similar to the jam cake in my family. Yes. People have tried to get it. And, I've got a couple of uncles that have hit that thing pretty daggone close. Pretty close.
But a couple that didn't.
Yeah, well, we're not going to talk about that.
Okay, so how do you actually practice this thankfulness? What does the actual practicing look like?
Well, I think first and foremost, you can't practice with something you don't have.
That's right.
So I would encourage people to find thankfulness.
Yes.
Whether that's in your health, whether that's in the people around you, be able to find it and really understand, what does thankfulness look like? And that's, it's hard to be hateful when you're grateful.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
And so that thankfulness gives us that right kind of spirit.
Oh man, I love that so much. So once you find it, I think holding on to it is the same as practicing it, though, like continuing to practice it and put it in place. So I have a few things that I've done over the years. Some of them may be ridiculously corny, and that's okay, because things that are new and different always feel a little bit out of your comfort zone and corny or woo-woo. But these are several things that we've done as a family to cultivate thankfulness.
Okay.
And we use thankfulness and gratefulness interchangeably. So I know gratefulness is a buzzword. We're using thankfulness because it's the holiday.
Absolutely.
So one of the things that I did was, this is my mom's idea, but if you're watching, Mom, she pooped out the first year, and I've done it myself for 3 years alone. But just to get her, she bought me this jar, and we went and got construction paper, and we cut up these little pieces of paper. So this sits on the edge of my desk. And each day I will write down what I am thankful for, and I'll put the date on it. So every day, this says I'm grateful for working with Chris and booking our retreat for this fall. And every day is different. And maybe I'm grateful for Caitlin, or I'm grateful for my socks. Guys, there are days where it's like, I'm grateful for my butt in a chair. Like, I can't come up with anything, and you force yourself, but you get in a rhythm.
Yes.
So what I do is, on New Year's Eve, December 31st. Yeah, December 31st. I pour them all out, and I read them, and then I rubber band them to go in a box for the year. But it's like I see all 365 things I was thankful for.
That is a great daily habit.
Yes.
It really is. And
like
it forces us to do it.
Yes.
Right.
Because some days you're so not in the mood to do it.
That's right.
That those days you have to excavate it.
I like that. Okay, and I
I
think not only could you do that for yourself, but I think you can take that thankfulness a step further and write some thank you notes.
Oh, yes.
To people that have done something for you or mean something to you. So, all right, keep going.
Yes, to get a letter in the mail nowadays is just
it's a big deal.
wild.
That's not a bill.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so the other thing we did was, in the book of Joshua, in the Bible, when the Israelites go into the Promised Land, God opens up the Jordan River. A lot of people know about, the Red Sea, the big Red Sea parting, right, when Moses took everybody out of Egypt. But Joshua also, when the Israelites finally made it into the Promised Land, the Jordan River gets split open, and on the other side, they lay rocks down in remembrance. Each member of a tribe, so there's 12 rocks, they laid it down in remembrance of what God had done. So what we did, we had a really tough year, 2019 maybe. And I was like, you know what? It's been a really hellacious year. We're going to lay rocks in remembrance. And so at Thanksgiving, my husband built me this little thing. You could use whatever you wanted to. And we went to Michael's and got rocks. And we went around the table. Each person had 2 or 3 rocks. And my family and my extended family, we laid it down and we said, I am thankful for the roof over my head. I am thankful for. So to hear it around the table several times and lay rocks in remembrance, it was just a physical manifestation of what we wanted to see. Like, I needed to visualize it and touch it, not just hear about it and think about it. I needed to see it. And so we did this.
That's
and
really
it was
neat.
Beautiful. It changed our whole mood for the rest of the holiday.
No, again, another thing to do.
Yes.
To show that thankfulness, which I think is fantastic. I think another thing that we have to do with thankfulness is to be able to consume it. And by consume it, I just don't mean the food, okay? But what I'm talking about is that feeling, that state of being where you look and you go, boy, everything's not perfect. There's some things over here that got to be worked on and some things that got to be worked out. But as a whole, I'm thankful for X, Y, and Z. And that's why I love that you're writing that down, because sometimes we can forget. I actually hold on to notes people send me, the thank you notes, because I like to go back and read
them.
The impact it had on people.
That's
That's another physical thing that we can do. But Laurie, you and I know as well, and you were hitting on this earlier, another thing that we have to do with thankfulness is share it.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Share it with our family, share it with our friends. And that takes some vulnerability for a lot of us. Because of the way that I went through my early 20s 20s and the poverty that we were in, I was not a person who was what I would call generous. I didn't like to hug. It felt physically exposing myself.
Yeah.
And so I just wanted to kind of pull back. And I think what's changed that over the years is gratitude and thankfulness to slowly be vulnerable enough to share a hug, to share a kind word, to share a meal, to share my coat, to share my couch. I could keep going, but it's like, I think in sharing those things, you give people thankfulness as well. Like they have things now to be thankful for that you've given them. So like you said, to write them a note. You can't help but not feel that. You know, those five sensory that we talked about earlier, those senses we talked about earlier, it's like when someone is thankful towards you, it's hard not to experience all five of those in some way, and it locks it in. It's like, I am so thankful for this person in my life who's kind enough to hug me when I'm in need, who's great enough to send me a letter, who's thoughtful enough to pick me up something or send me something when I'm sick. I have those friends in my life. And it's like, they share it all the time, whether it's natural to you or not natural. So just understand it may not be natural at first, and that's okay. Start small and start sharing that thankfulness with the people around you.
Okay, so all of this talk about thankfulness, I just want to remind you, how do you practice it? Well, to be able to practice thankfulness, you've got to be able to find it. You've got to be able to hold on to it. You need to be able to consume thankfulness, but also to be able to share it. And that's being able to physically manifest itself in the actions that we take, especially during this time of year.
Absolutely. I think we should end the show today by sharing a childhood, teenager, young 20s memory of Thanksgiving with one another.
Ooh. Okay.
Do you want to go first or you want me to go?
Goodness. No, you go first. Let me think.
Okay. So I was probably 24 years old. I know it's a little bit older, but 24. This is a good one. And Jacob was probably 20. My cousin was there. He was a little bit older than me, not much. And Jacob's younger brother, who was 18. And my parents decided they were going to go out of town for Thanksgiving. We were all living in the same town. And my girls, who were probably 3 and 4, 4 and 5 then, they were with their father. We had been through the divorce. So the four of us, Joel, Jacob, Beth, and me, decided we're going to be grown-ups and we're going to make our own Thanksgiving for the first time ever. Never cooked Thanksgiving before. Well, my mom felt sorry for us before she headed out of town, so she made a huge pan of her stuffing because I wasn't making it yet. She made a huge pan of her stuffing and she froze it. So we get up that morning, we go into town, the boys go into town, they get a turkey, 24-pound turkey, they bring it back, it's frozen solid. We call my mom and we say, we have a frozen 25-pound turkey, what do we do? And she was like, you go to Burger King, like you're not eating. And so we were like, okay, so we send the boys back, they get sliced turkey, because there's no way to cook the turkey on Thanksgiving days. They get sliced turkey from a gas station or something at this point, right? And so we go outside and we get the big pan of dressing. Well, my father is intensely, I'm just going to say it, anal retentive, it's the only word I can think of, about his tools. Don't touch them, don't smell them, don't breathe on them, nothing. Well, we got the dressing out, and my cousin and I were like, how are we going to cut this in half? Because it was massive. Let's just cut it in half a little bit. I said, well, let's just get one of my dad's chisels, and we'll just chisel it, and it'll break in half, and we can put it in the oven. So we start chiseling it. The chisel breaks in the center of the dressing. I mean, the whole chisel breaks in half in the center of the dressing. So we just left it there. We went inside, ate our cold turkey. When my mom and dad got home, we sent Jacob, my husband, out, and we were like, tell Dad what happened to the chisel. That was our Thanksgiving.
Wow.
That was our first adult Thanksgiving that year.
Wow. Wow. That's
Jacob's introduction to my father.
Yeah, you threw him to the fire is what you did. Well, I don't, oh my gosh, there's so many memories. I mean, my uncles, you know, what's hilarious is, you know, having 5 uncles and an aunt growing up, you know, Thanksgiving meal was serious business.
Yes.
And my Uncle John, you knew it was Thanksgiving when he would come through and have 2 full plates.
Wow.
No, I don't mean a plate that's just, piled high, 2 full plates. And he's a skinny dude, you know, muscular, but he's skinny. He would eat both of those.
Take it out.
Take a little break and then go back.
No.
And so I just remember seeing Uncle John come through smiling, holding 2 plates. You knew it was about to go down.
Oh
like he
God,
was about
so
to have
good.
fun. And then, you know, of course, I've got my experiences of trying to fry a turkey where I turned a turkey into a Cornish hen. But we're not going to talk about that. We're not going to talk about that.
Put the dryer on high.
That's right. But we all have those memories. And I think
it's
I'm so
so
thankful that we have them. And we're thankful for you.
Yes, we are.
We really are. And I tell you what I want to do. For the call to action to this episode, this is a special one about Thanksgiving. I'd love for you to post below what it is you're thankful for right now. I really would. I'd love for you to be able to share it for a couple of reasons. Number one, for you to be aware of what it is you're thankful for, but to also share it with others. I think the most important thing we can do, as we've talked about, is sharing thankfulness, and this is a way for us to do it as a community with the Extraordinary Life. And so I'd love for you to post in the comments below about what it is you're thankful for, but I also want you to do this. How are you going to practice this thankfulness for the next 30 days? Because we're in this holiday season, right? Thanksgiving, moving on into Christmas. And so for the next 30 days, I want us to practice being more intentionally thankful and more intentionally grateful as we move through this holiday season. Things are going to get hectic. We're hearing about supply chain and you can't find certain stuff. This is an opportunity for us to reset, able to look at things that really matter and to acknowledge those things. And so thank you all so much for all the comments. I'm telling you, you have blown us away with the way that you've engaged with this project and the way that you're sharing this information. We're very grateful for you. So let's keep it moving. Comment below. Let us know what it is you're grateful for and how you're going to practice it moving forward. And I want you to have a blessed Thanksgiving. We can't wait to come back.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Take care, everybody.